Hey Pat, what's happening? Josh here. So I wanted just to walk you through this workflow, right? So this is you on your computer. Let's imagine that you've actually gone ahead and recorded a bunch of results on the field, right? People are running 5, 10, 5s, they're running verts, long jumps, those types of things. Okay. What you're going to do here is this is an unconventional way to use the system. Ultimately, in 99% of our coaches, in fact, it's more than that, the athletes are actually using the app, right? They're logging their training. And so you're clicking on an athlete and you're seeing what their maxes are based on when you actually tested them and things like that, right? So you're able to adjust those numbers at any point in time. Whether it's, hey, I want to actually just adjust this athlete's vert or their bench press and so on and so forth. But again, that stuff is tracked in real time, and you're able to pull reports on it. Now, in this case, we're going to have you simply take the results down. They're going to be logging this stuff, like they'll actually be doing it through their training. You're going to go to Gym Tools, and you're going to go to Spreadsheets. Okay, so the reason we design spreadsheets is ultimately to give full control to a coach, so they're responsible for all the inputs. So you're going to create a new spreadsheet, right? We're going to call this like athletes acceleration, like pretest, or why don't we call it the assessment? Right now, you select the date that it happened. So just to kind of illustrate what this will look like for you, let's say it's October 7th. Right? Let's create the spreadsheet. So what happens is we call it a spreadsheet because it's like designed to look and feel like a spreadsheet, but you'll add athletes. So you'll have these different groups. In this case, hey, let's use this football team, and let's take Joey Hill, Aaron Hill, and Liam Held as an example, right? So we've got 3 athletes. You could have 100 in this list. Then you add the benchmarks. So in this case, if it's like the 5, 10, 5, that'd be one column, right? Next is, let's say it's a 10-yard sprint. Let's say it's a vertical jump. Next, we're going to have a long jump, right? You can have your traditional stuff like, let's just throw a back squat in there. Now, you'll actually come in here and adjust these. So if the 5, 10, 5 was like a 4.2 for here, we're 4.4. Here, we're 4.5, right? Our 10-yard sprint, we've got like a 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, right? Our vert, we've got a 30, we've got a 31, we've got a 32. Long jump, I don't know what's good, but let's say 50, 51, 52. Back squat, 3, 305, and 310. Okay? So this happens, right? And then 12 weeks later, you're just going to add another tab, and we give you the option. Let's just call this the post test. You can keep the same athletes, same benchmarks, just a new date. So this happened today, right? 12 weeks later. In fact, let's just go on January 8th. So we'll go 10-8 to Jan 8 for these 3 athletes. Right, and you're just then punching in this post-assessment stuff, right? So here we got a 4.4, a 4.5, 4.6. Right, our 10-yard sprint, it's like a 3.1, a 2.0, and a 2.2. Our vert now, we have 33, 35, 37. Our back squat is 330, 405, and 195. And our long jump, 50, 51, 52. Okay, so what we're doing is we're recording data on all these athletes for these 2 data points, right? So then, and you can do this as many times as you want. And again, for as many athletes and as many benchmarks. But then what we're going to do is we're going to go to analytics and reports. You're going to go to classic reports, okay? So we're going to find this in classic reports, and really the report that we want here, I'm going to create a report in the top right, is going to be a progress report. Okay, so let's select progress report. We'll select the team. You can grab all the athletes. In this case, I want like just a few of these guys, right? So we want Liam, Aaron, and Joey, right? And then we select the start date and the end date if we want to actually see progress. So in this case, let's go October 7th to now, right? And then we add the benchmarks. So for us, it's that 5, 10, 5, right? It's the 10-yard. It's the vertical. It's the long jump. It's the back squat. Right, we want their one. So we've got these 5 benchmarks. Let's run this report. So here's how this report will work. It'll show the starting date, the ending date, and the change. Right, so what was their actual result on the start date and then the end date. Right, so you can see that for each. And again, these results were just recorded by us quickly, just to kind of demonstrate what that'll look and feel like. But there you go. Now, there's some limitations here. One, you're managing all this data. You're punching this stuff in. And 2, you're not seeing like graphical representations of this stuff, right? So you can export it. It'll all export to Excel, and you can play with it in Excel and create graphs and stuff like that. But this is how this will work for you, so that at any point in time, you can just jump into Gym Tools and again go into spreadsheets, right? You'd launch spreadsheets, and from here, this is your data point, or your data entry point, if you will. You click on assessment, and you go and add in these assessments as they happen, right? You can adjust them at any time. You can add more benchmarks. You could always create new spreadsheets, so you've got kind of different groups with that. There's a much more sophisticated way to use the system, and that's why I asked the question today about, are you training folks one-on-one? Like, if you're doing stuff like that, you're, in here training entire groups, or you're training an individual athlete, and you're jumping into their calendar, and you're making real-time adjustments. Like, hey, all right, let's actually build a training plan for William. You're inside of this calendar saying, hey, let's create a training session. Hey, we're gonna start with bench press. We're gonna add pull-ups. Let's superset this thing. Let's add in a rep scheme. For pull-ups, I don't know, we're gonna go 3 by 10, right? And maybe you come in and you adjust percentages and things like that, or throw in some notes. You can do quite a bit, and then you're actually connected with that athlete going back and forth. So if you want to use this for a couple of reasons: one, track all the data, but two, actually use it for any kind of one-on-one. I think that'd be a nice kind of small, easy, lightweight test for you. And the only reason I bring that up is just from a value standpoint. I want to make sure that you're not you're realizing all the value that you could and should. So let me work with you on all this stuff, and let me know what you think about this. I'm excited to show you and get your thoughts. Thanks, Pat.